Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening, good evening. Good to see everybody in here. Um, Good to see you, PG. Much love. God bless. First to you and your family. Summer Moon, Utah, Wales. Love and prayers to Miss Norway and to everyone in chat. God bless. Good to see you, Brat. I love you, girlfriend. You know it. Hey, you were number one. Number one, Brat. And number two. Hey, beautiful PG Mods chat. Good to see you all. Much love. Number two, Carrie. He's number two in here tonight, girl. Absolutely. God bless. And let's see, number three, Janet. Number three, much love to PG. Hey, girl, much love to you. God bless. I appreciate that. And 2025. Rhoda, how you doing, honey? How you doing? Good to see you. Hey, everyone, you number four. Number four in here tonight. 1, 2, 3, and 4. God bless. Good to see all of y'all. Absolutely. And let's see. I'm going to the bottom. Hey, Kathy, how you doing, sweetie? Miss Justice 111. Good to see you, sweetie. Absolutely. Stephanie, how you doing tonight? Good to see you, girlfriend. Hey, I appreciate that, Carrie. I appreciate it. God bless. I'm heading to the bottom. Hey, CJ, how you doing, girlfriend? Good to see you in here. Legendary, how you doing? Good to see all y'all. All right, Karen, good to see you. I absolutely welcome everyone. Good to see everybody. Spread love. How you doing? There's the legendary Purple Hearts. Beautiful. Absolutely. Hey, Starbucks. How you doing? Carolyn, how you doing? Anna, good to see you all. Bridget, April. That's Angel. I was calling her April. My bad. Anna, how you doing? When do I call her April? I don't know. Reba Mama, how you doing, sweetie? How you doing? Good to see you. Absolutely. Good to see everybody in here. I think I just caught on to the A. All right. Oh, Stephanie, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Prayers for Summer. Hey, she can sure use them too. She can absolutely use them. Oh, 2025. I appreciate that. Hey, Vicky, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. I do not ever remember how to pronounce your name. Is it Ava? Ava? I hope it is. But God bless. Good to see you in here. All right. Oh, that's beautiful, Anna. Absolutely beautiful. I love the name Anna. I really do. That is a beautiful name. Is it Alva? Alva? Let me stop while I'm ahead. Anyway, I want to get right to it tonight. Everybody knows that there was a bunch of deleted messages in Ziggy's text, right? She acts like, she wanted to show y'all, but obviously didn't want to show you everything. And I don't know what she was expecting to gain out of what she did, but it is what it is. Right? But anyway, we're gonna look through them. We're gonna look through them. This is just some of them, you guys. I mean, there's like a ton of them, and 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 when I go through them, I got a screenshot. Then I've got to take that, and then I got to you know take it over and make it into content. There's a lot, to all of this. Um, I got to basically frame it out and then put it all into content. And it takes time. This stuff takes time. And you guys know, you know, I'm not I'm not hiding my job or my family from no one. Um, this isn't all I do. So I stay very busy, very busy. So I'm going to put them in content as I can, and I'm going to continue to bring them out and bring them out and bring them out until you actually get to see them all. And that's how I got to work it. And I talk with law enforcement? Yes, yes, I have talked to law enforcement. Um, they are not keeping Candace from seeing from searching for Summer. They are not keeping her from doing whatever she needs to do in any way, form, or how. Um, you know, Candace brought all of this stuff upon herself. You know, she brought all of this upon herself. She lost all of her kids herself, right? Nobody did any of this but her. Um, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. They didn't say, actually, they kind of chuckled, the person I talked to chuckled, and obviously somebody around them could hear the conversation because somebody else was chuckling. So there was chuckles when asked why and if they were keeping Candace Bly Wells from searching for her daughter. The answer was no. No. Not that they were aware of at all. And they're sure they would be aware of it if it was happening. So, with that being said, Candace, you lied. You lied. As for Morrison Cemetery, they're very aware of Morrison Cemetery. They're following every single lead as they go, and there's a lot of stuff still on the list, and they will get to everything as they proceed. So sounds like Candace is a sitting duck. All right. Quack, quack. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds to me like they should step on a hill and keep binoculars towards that cemetery, because it sounds like it's going to be getting looked into for sure. So, yeah. So, and she's very nervous about it. She's very nervous about it. A lot of people are nervous about it. People are getting stocked up over there as well. Flowers were on that grave. And too much going on with that gravesite for them not to check into it. Everything going on has made it legible to be looked into. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. And no, I can't bring it out because when you talk with law enforcement, you have to give your information, and then they call you by your information. And I'm not bringing that out here. because it's important that I keep my identity private, and that I will do. That I will do. But that is the update. That is the update. I will keep calling. I will keep calling. I will keep keeping updates on it. I will continue to ask, you know, week by week, um, if and when are they going to get over there? If not, why? Um, so I'll keep it up. I'll keep it up for summer's sake. I will keep it up. I will keep bugabooing if that's what needs to be done to get this baby found. And not only that, but we got some other people in the works right now. We're trying behind the scenes. We're trying to get um, other people to go and do, to do the ground penetration. Use the equipment to do the ground penetration to see if she's down in there. So, and the PI is one of them that can actually do that. And I'm going to get back with him. I talked with him a little bit about doing it, and I'm going to get back with him. He went to the Comic Cons, True Crime Comic Con, and everything. He stays pretty busy, but I'm going to try to reach out, get back with him, and see, if he's gave it any more thought, and is it something he would be willing to do? Um, you know, because he does know what he's doing. He does own the equipment. He has that equipment, and it's just a matter of going down there and doing it. So if he, I mean, I'm sure Summers supporters would more than be willing to, help with the cost of gas and so forth and so on, and whatever hotels, whatever it takes to go down there and to get that done. I'm sure they would be more than willing to support it. And that's my opinion. If he's willing to do it. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to reach back out to him and see. And we got people, supposedly someone's supposed to be reaching out to another agency that does that as well, and see what we can get done there, and so forth and so on. But we will do all we can to have that grave site looked into. I mean, I really believe she's there. That's my opinion. I think that's where we're going to find her, because they have no way of getting her out. They have no way of getting her out. So she's there. She's there. I mean, you would have to move, even if we locate her. Say we locate her, we can't get her out. Law enforcement's going to have to be called up there, and they're going to have to then go through, the proper channels to exhume that particular grave and get her out. You can't get her out. That's for sure. Hey, thank you, PG, for your work. It's very appreciated. Hey, girl. I appreciate you, April. I appreciate you supporting Summer's channel. God bless. I appreciate that. But yeah. So, let's do all we can and stick in there and keep pushing. At some point, somebody's going to help us. If we keep moving forward, we'll get somebody to help us. Absolutely, Brat. Absolutely. Amen. Oh, Bridget, I appreciate that. Absolutely. I appreciate the support. Yes. I don't know if anyone else heard, or if you've heard about this particular gentleman He was amazing. I loved him. I loved this guy. He was a bona fide Christian, a bona fide law-abiding, upstanding citizen. Um, he was a son. He was a dad. He was a brother. You know, he was all these things. And today, I'm sorry to announce, but today, evil took him away from us. Another angel gained his wings. And absolutely fly high, Charlie, fly high. He's way too young to be taken from our world. But this is what evil's doing. And evil is doing this because we the people, we the righteous people, we the people who are law-abiding citizens, God-fearing, law-abiding citizens, we have gotten too relaxed in this life. We have gotten too relaxed and have turned our faces away from evil. And when we turned our faces away from the evil, just let them do what they're going to do. Just let them do what they're going to do. Just let them do what they're going to do. Well, we let it go too long. We have let it go too long, you guys. And we cannot turn our faces away from it any longer. It's time. God gave every last one of his children. He didn't give just PG a suit of armor, or just Charlie a suit of armor to stand up against evil. He gave every last one of us a suit of armor, and we better start wearing it. We better put it on. We better start wearing it, and we better start standing against all of this evilness in our world, because if we don't stand against it and put it down, it's going to put us down. It is time that we the people stand up, and we stand it as one again against all of this evilness in our world. They need to open up places for people with severe mental health issues. These people need to be taken off the street. They need to be put in a place where they can get the help they need for their mental health illnesses. We cannot continue to let this run rampant. We cannot, let all of these people who are not mentally stable continue to run around our streets. It's just unacceptable. We have got to, start standing up for our law enforcement. We've got to start standing up. Number one, we got to start standing up for God and what's righteous in this life. And then we have to stand up for our law enforcement. We got to stand up for our court systems. We got to start standing behind these criminals being put where they belong. If you mess up, that's your problem. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they are our children or our brothers and sisters, our moms and dads. It doesn't matter what they are to us, our nephews, nieces. It don't matter. If they mess up, they know right from wrong. And if they do wrong, then they need to go and pay the time for what they did. They're not going to learn. They're not going to learn nothing if we continue. When you protect and support evil, you just make it more evil. You make it worse. You don't make it better. If you want this life to get better, then let evil people pay for the evil deeds they do. Stop shielding them. Stop trying to stand, in the way of justice. It's time that all of us go back like our grandparents were, like our grandparents and our parents was. You know how the old folks were. You mess up, you're going to pay the price. I'm not coming to get you out because I didn't get you in there. I did not get you in there, and I'm not coming to get you out. So you go right ahead. You go on. You take your long neck self and you go on and you get yourself in trouble, but don't call this phone number because nobody's going to be answering to help you. You got yourself there, you get yourself out. And they meant it, and they meant it. And that's why their kids walked the line. Because they knew their parents was not going to be there. Nobody was going to be there if they messed up. Accountability. That's right. That's right. Self-blame. You blame yourself. And I'm going to tell you the one thing evilness does is blame everyone else instead of theirself. Evil blames everybody. They don't understand. I think they do understand, but it's too easy. Hey, CJ, I remember for 30 months. All right. Please pray for my sister. She's in the hospital. Hey, girl, prayers are already going up for you. They're already going up. I tell you now, one thing this channel does have, they have a lot of prayer warriors in here. And I'm going to tell you, I know that there's some real bona fide Christians in here. Because I'm going to tell you what, I've had some things happening in my life here and there, and I know somebody was praying for me. I knew it. And I was really thankful. Now, I don't know who, but I know somebody was. And I greatly appreciated it. And these people in here, I'm going to tell you, from their lips, it goes straight to God's ears through their Savior, Jesus Christ. So, girl, them prayers are already going up as we speak right here. Already started. So, worry not. Worry not. God bless you. But yeah, our country, we've gotten too weak. We've gotten too weak with, trying to protect evilness. And I tell you, that evilness at some point will turn on you, just like it turns on everybody else, if you continue to protect it, if you continue to stand up for it. It will overtake you, because you're weak. You're weak. You got to let it pay the price. You got to let that evilness. See, when you stand out of the way, when someone does something wrong, and you let them pay, pay the consequences for what they did, then it teaches them not to do it again. It puts the fear in them, and it makes them a better person. They become a better person. But when you try to protect them and bailing them out of everything, you're just creating a monster. You're creating a Frankenstein. And you don't want to do that. Little piece by piece, you're creating yourself a Frankenstein. And you don't want to do that. And today, evil took this poor gentleman who was an amazing human being. No one could stand up against him because he stood with God Almighty. He stood with God himself. And many people tried to defeat him, but no one could. Until today. And they didn't defeat him. They did not defeat him. He's where we're all trying to get to. Charlie is where we all are trying to get to. He's already there. And I bet you 10 to 1, nothing could get him to come back here. He's like, no, Lord, I want to stay with you. I don't want to go back. All the pain, all the hurt, all the suffering, all the evilness that he continuously stood up against. And shut it down too. And he shut it down. And because no one could defeat him, this is the only other option they had. The only other option they had was to do this. Well, they did it to Jesus too, right? Jesus walked this earth, and nothing they could do. They couldn't shut Jesus down either. Jesus told them how it was. He was always defeating them as well, to the point that they wanted to literally hang him on the cross and be rid of him. But they weren't rid of him, because in 3 days he rose from the dead and he descended back into heaven with his Father. And I truly believe that this guy right here has descended into heaven as well. He was a very, very good human being. And God be with him. God be with him. This is what evil does. Evil wants to destroy everything good in this life. They want to destroy it. It irritates their demons. It irritates their demons. And I'm going to tell you, people say, oh, liberals, you know, conservatives, liberals, them liberals. I'm going to tell you what, no, it ain't conservatives and liberals, because I'm going to tell you, I know liberal people. I know a lot of liberal people, and they're good people. They're good people. They just, you know, they just think different from conservatives. I mean, they're good Christian people too. But they think that, you know, things should be a little more relaxed, right? That things shouldn't be, you know, everything shouldn't be so stiff, you know. And you know, but they respect how you live, and you respect how they live, right? It's like when we go to the Amish country. When we go to the Amish country, we respect how they live. We go there, we visit, you know, we like to buy stuff out of their little stores, and they got amazing food. They got amazing food, the Amish do. And I mean the bakery alone is amazing, but the food, you know, the regular food is amazing as well. They always give you plenty of it. They don't hold back. You know, it ain't like our bag of chips. You know, you go to store today and you got a big bag of chips, and tomorrow you go to store and, you know, the price of the chips went up and the bag got smaller. And then you go to store again and, well, you know, the price went up some more and the chips went smaller. And pretty soon you're just going to get one fucking chip in a bag for the price that, you know, you're paying now for the little bag that you get. But, you know, it's not like that. You go there and, you know, you pay one price and you get the same amount of food every time, you know. And I visit the Amish country, you know, different times over the years. My husband really liked to visit the Amish country, and so, but you know, I go there and I respect their ways. You know, they call us Englishers, and I could, like, that offends me. You're calling me this, that offend, like, who you think you. No, no. I respect the Amish. I respect their way of living. And I am an Englisher to them. They're Amish to me, and I'm an English person to them. And yes, I am outside of their community. I don't, take on the Amish life and the Amish way. So I am on the outside of their community. It's all true. And I respect them, and they respect me. They treat me with kindness, caring, and love, and I treat them the same way, as all humans should. But I'm going to tell you, it's not about Amish people, and it's not about, conservatives, and it's not about liberal. It's about mental health issues. There's a lot of people, um, when you are attacking people for no apparent reason, for no reason other than what they say offends you, and you're destroying them, or because they're a certain race, you're destroying them. That is a mental health issue. That isn't being liberal. That's being mentally ill. There's got to be something wrong with you to take another human's life, or try to take another human's life, just because you don't like what they say, or you don't like the race they are, or you don't like the religion they are. I mean, who is it for you? Who left you in command to say who can say what and who can't? This is a free country. This is a free country. Everybody has a right to voice their opinion, and everybody needs to learn how to respect one another's opinions. You ain't got no right to put your hands on anyone else for any reason at all. And if you feel you do, you've got some mental issues that need to be addressed inside of a mental institution where they can try to make you healthy again. And as to my understandings, Donald Trump is going to open up mental institutions again, because we need them. We absolutely need them. And he's going to open up, I hear, more prisons, which we also need as well. And we also need more judges. We need more law enforcement. We need more of everything. And I'm going to tell you what this world's going to come to. We're going to end up getting policed. We're going to end up getting policed by our own military if things don't calm down. That's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is it's going to be like other countries, where you better not be on the street after 10 o'clock. And you better not be doing this, and you better not be doing that. And it's going to get to where they can come through your house if they want to, or, if they want to or not. Whether you want them to come or not, they're going to be able to walk through your home and look where they please to look. You're looking out your front window, they're going to just come up to your door and knock. I know you're in there, open the door, or they're just going to bring it in. Because if they feel you got something you're hiding, or some reason you're doing it, they're just going to be in your house. And that is how we're going to end up if things don't change. It's getting closer and closer to it. And I think that is exactly exactly the power that our government wants over we the people. That's my opinion. I think they want that power over we the people. That's why they want to get all of these people roused up. They want to call these people liberals. They want to call these people out of control. And they want to be able to bring in the military to start controlling it all. And it's already happening. It's already happening. We've already got National Guard in a lot of different states policing. And I'm going to tell you, right now it might be a few National Guards, but I'm going to tell you this. Pretty soon it's going to be the freaking Army and the Marines. And that's when you do not want to deal with that. You get military policing you, and I'm going to tell you, all your rights are gone then. You have no freedom. You have no rights. You're going to be under the thumb of some very evil human beings that the military hires up. And you're going to be open to that. Right now's the time to stand up and stand against this stuff and start standing behind your law enforcement, start standing behind your court system, start letting these people that do evil things pay the time for their crime. And don't have pity parties for them. Don't have no pity parties for them. Start doing like the old folks did. Hey, I ain't going to sit here and shed a tear over that person because they knew before they did it where it was going to get them. And now they're there. So you let them waddle in their own mess. And maybe when they get themselves out of it, they won't be getting themselves into it again. And I bet you see a lot of people straightening up in this life if you just do that to them. That's my opinion. But this right here, let me tell you something. This right here was a great loss, you guys. This was a great loss right here. This man was a very great loss. He was a very great loss to each and every last person in this country. Every last one of us. What they're trying to do is silence you through things like this right here. They're trying to make people afraid to stand up like he did. They expect us to back down after this, but I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down, and I hope to God no one else ever backs down either. God bless us. God bless us. But anyway, let's get to Fred. Let's get to Fred. You know. It was terrible today. It was terrible today. You know, this man's death was like 9/11. I won't ever forget where I was. I won't ever forget where I was when I heard about what happened to this man. I will not ever forget it. That's how popular this man was for standing up for God and all of us. God bless him. The TBI is trying to figure out who was driving the dark blue GMC right there. You guys read it for yourself. He's talking about the single cab, fake vehicle that was supposed to be in the holler. That was on the camera at 3:47. The camera only got the side view. The tag wasn't on camera. Well, you know what? Fred, I don't care what was in that holler at 3:47 because I'm going to tell you what. At 3:47, Summer was still with Candace and Grandis. At 3:47, they just barely pulled on the hill and started gaslighting the boys and packing in groceries. Grandma took her milk to her camper, or somebody took the fucking milk somewhere, right? That's all I seen. All I seen was some milk. I think they put the other groceries in the trunk so the boys, would just be able to see part of their sister, not all of their sister, and run back in the house and ransack that food because they were starving. And Candace, gaslighted them up to believing that Summer at some point got out of the vehicle when, in my opinion, she didn't ever get out. But there you go. I'd like to know about the freaking, Chad Arnold's truck, the one that was at the cemetery, stalking people up. I want to know about his truck being down at your place, Fred, at 4:30, meeting up with Candace. That's what I want to know about, because I know that's on camera. Right? That's on camera for sure, Fred. Candace is following right out of Ben Hill Road out to Beach Creek. Right? That was on the camera closer down Ben Hill Road to Beach Creek. A neighbor down that way. It was their cameras that caught Candace's ass and Chad Arnold following one another out of Ben Hill Road. So, funny you talk about a blue truck because, that's the color of Chad Arnold's, right? That's the color of Chad Arnold's truck. And then, do you think that is who Candace was meeting up with when Chad Arnold seen her? I thought it was weird that Andy said Stoney was at Hayworth Tires in a white van he meant sell. He said, trying to sad. He meant sell young girls. No one is going to ask you that unless they have already purchased young girls before, right? Purchased before. So, said Stoney was at Hayworth Tires in a white van wanting to purchase up some young girls, why would Stoney be at Hayworth Tires asking Andy about young girls if Andy wasn't selling young girls? Obviously, I think Fred knew what was going up on Ben Hill Road. I think he knew. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Unless you have already purchased before. Remember Donald said on Dr. Phil that he thought it was an SUV, and he mentioned he thought it was a dark color. Candace kept saying blue van, blue van. And remember Donald giving Candace that look like, what the fuck, right? Yeah. There was a van. There was a van up on Ben Hill Road. Jody Sue said there was a big white van on Ben Hill Road one night, and Candace came running up to her house saying that the van was down there selling the little girls. And Jody Sue said she told Andy, get your ass up and get whatever together. I don't care how, what you got to do. Get everything you can together so we can go down here and get this one particular little girl, right? And then, Jody Sue said that, they notified police and everything. Then they was trying to save the little girl. But when I asked law enforcement about Jody Sue supposedly calling in, reporting, a white van that was selling out little girls they heard nothing about it. They knew nothing about that. So, first they were hearing of it. Now, I don't doubt that a van wasn't pulling up. And I don't doubt that there wasn't, people inside there for sale. Not for sale as in here, you purchase the person, you get to keep them. Sometimes yes. Sometimes yes. But most of the time, no. Most of the time is for sale and means, have a go at it and that's it. You get some time, so much time for so much money. Because people up at Ben Hill Road just don't have the money to completely purchase. If you want to completely purchase a whole person, especially like a child, it's going to cost thousands, not hundreds. It's going to cost thousands. And I don't think Andy and the conditions I seen them living in, hell no. Hell no. I mean, like I said, I come from the hood. I know for a fact how this kind of stuff operates. I mean, when you live in a hood, you see it all. You just see it all. You know it all. And I'm going to tell you, when something pulls up like that in low economic places, like that, it's you're buying time. You're buying 30 minutes, you're buying an hour, you might buy 2 hours or 3, but you're not purchasing the whole person, because the whole person is way more than what those people can afford. That's what I'm talking about. When they have whole people for purchase, then they're not pulling up on Ben Hill Road. They're pulling up like, in areas where some very prominent people live and some very big money's floating around. And then it might be an exchange. Just saying. Only one that was with the blue truck coming out of Hollow was Andy bumper to bumper. I really think Damien coached Summer to the road. That's just my opinion. Whoa. He said, I really think Damien coached Summer to the road. Wow, Fred. I don't think Andy and Jody Sue's going to like this one. I'm going to leave that one up for a minute. I'm going to leave this one up for a second, because I got to give Jody Sue an opportunity to mother freaking screenshot this and then tell Fred what she thinks about it all, right? I can't wait to hear what Jody Sue has to say about this, Fred. I can't wait until Andy. I hear what he has to say about this. Right? You said that you think Damien coached Summer to the road. Only one that was with the blue truck coming out of the hollow was Andy bumper to bumper. Andy wasn't even there that day, Fred. Andy was at work all day. All day. That has been looked into by law enforcement. I actually called his work. I actually talked to his boss. Andy was at work. He was not, absolutely not, anywhere else that day. Andy went to work just like Don Wells, and they both hid at work. They both were hiding. Andy was hiding at work with his GPS, and Don Wells was hiding at work with his Starlink. Them two mother freakers made sure they drove vehicles that would definitely track them right to the job site along with their telephone and be there the whole day, Fred. It don't sound like you were that smart. Don't sound like you were smart enough to do that. And okay, Damien coached Summer to the road. Okay, Fred, say Damien did coach Summer to the road. Where the hell is Damien going to take Summer? Where is he going to take little Summer? He can't take her out. He can't take her out of the holler. He can't take her nowhere because Andy took Jody Sue's vehicle, and Andy left his vehicle there, which Andy would have the keys to his vehicle, so nobody's going to be going nowhere during that day because Andy was protecting his backside for one day. And his keys to get in the house, he has to, his regular car keys, and that's all on one fixed thing. And he's driving Jody Sue's vehicle, so he has to be able to, have his keys to his other vehicle to get stuff out of it as he leaves in hers. He has to have his keys to get back in the house and keys to whatever keys he uses at work. So he has to take his keys with him. So the boy wouldn't have, where would he take her? What would he do with her? I don't think so. And anything short of Damien running up the driveway to Grandis's vehicle and taking a unlived child out of the back seat, anything short of him doing that, he wouldn't have had her. You can't coach someone that is no longer with us down to the road, Fred. And I think Summer wasn't with us on those milk jugs because it was down to your house is where Candace came with Summer in the back seat looking like that. She came to your house meeting up with Chad Arnold. She didn't go to Andy's house. She didn't go to anybody else's house. She came to your house. Right? I don't know, Fred. You were the one that seemed to have a muddy bathroom. You were the one having a muddy old bathroom, which would make perfect sense. If you and Laura went with Candace or went with Chad over to the cemetery and helped do what they were doing over there. And then Candace could have brought you and Laura back into Ben Hill Road and dropped you all off before she went back up on the hill. That's my opinion. I think you and Laura didn't go nowhere that day unless you went with Candace or Chad over to the cemetery. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Andy was at work. There really is video. I checked. Yeah, Andy was at work. There was a period that day he wasn't from 3 to 5. He was at work most of the day, just like Dawn. That's bullshit. I'm telling you, Andy was at work the whole entire day. He didn't leave until after 5 to go home. So that's BS, Fred. I checked, and he was there. He didn't even leave work till after 5 to go to head to Ben Hill Road. So I don't even know what you're talking about. You got a screw loose, because he definitely was at work 3 to 5. And so what? So what if he was there from 3 to 5, Fred? Summer didn't come up missing until 5:55, Fred. Between 5:55 and 6 o'clock. She came up missing between 5:55 and 6 o'clock. Because Candace called Don Wells at 6:09, and Summer just barely went missing. And they called law enforcement at 6:28, 6:29. The phone calls were coming in to law enforcement, which law enforcement rounded it off to exactly 6 o'clock. So, with that being said, Fred, at 5 o'clock, I don't care who was in that holler at 5 o'clock, because at that time, Summer would have still been planting flowers and washing her hands and getting a peppermint, her favorite. That's her favorite, Fred. And then good old Mama Candace, she would have been walking her back, that long, long, long walk through the woods back over to the house, putting her in the house. Boys, make sure you watch your sister, right? And then she runs over and slaps around on Grandis's knee brace for a minute or two, and runs back into the house, and poof, be gone. Summer ain't there. Yeah, right. Bullshit. Pure bullshit. So it doesn't matter. Andy could have been all over the road between 3 and 5 o'clock. It doesn't make a difference. Summer didn't come up missing until 5:55 to 6 o'clock. That was damn near an hour later, Fred. So how does Andy have anything to do with Summer? He wouldn't. He wouldn't, even if he would have been there during those hours. So what really happened, Fred? What really happened? Because at 4:30, Candace was down at your place meeting up with Chad Arnold. And if Andy would have been on that road, then Candace would have seen Andy, and Chad Arnold would have seen Andy, and they would have been 3 witnesses to seeing Andy, and not just your one. If I'm right, put a 1 in the chat, you all. Oh, look who blessed us tonight. Good old Don Wells. You really going to believe that? Effing addict. He doesn't know what is even, he don't even know what he's even talking about. He's one of our main suspects. Yeah. Yeah. So are you, Don Wells. So are you. Right? You're one of our main suspects as well. So, ain't that like the pot talking to the kettle? Andy was at work. There really is video. I checked. There was a period that he was on there. No, he wasn't. That's no truth to that. That's all bullshit. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. I believe Andy. Um, Yeah, Don Wells, you're a main suspect, you dirtbag. Absolutely, Stephanie. Absolutely. You tell him. You tell him, girl. You go. And then I said, could someone else been driving Andy's vehicle? From what I'm understanding, law enforcement really suspects Summer was not alive on the milk jugs. Hell no. They are 100% proof he was on Simpsons Lane at 3:30 and 3:47 on Ben Hill. He says, hell no. They are 100% proof he was on Simpson Lane at 3:30 and 3:47 on Ben Hill. Summer at 3:30, Candace was just barely getting back into Ben Hill Road. At 3:47, they had just gotten on the hill and calling the boys out to get groceries, and grandma hadn't even climbed that ass out of the vehicle. She hadn't even climbed that ass out of the vehicle yet. So what the hell is Fred talking about? Summer was still with Candace and Grandis, Fred, all the way up to 5:55. What part of that do you not understand? What part of that do you not understand? Yeah. Why does Fred feel a need to put all this focus on other people when he was the one home? Not Andy and Donald. Donald and Andy was off hiding. Simpson Lane is past his place. Why pass up his place? They really can't put everything out because of the investigation, but Summer will get her justice. All the cameras is past his place. That's bullshit, Fred. The only camera on Ben Hill Road, June 15, 2021, was the neighbors down at the end of Ben Hill Road. All the way at the end. Going out onto Beach Creek. That's the only camera, and that's the one that actually busted. It busted Chad Arnold and Candace following each other out onto Beach Creek. So you're a liar. There was no cameras down past Andy's house. There was no cameras at Jody Sue's, none at the wells, none on down through there. Nobody had cameras, Fred. Nobody. So I don't even want to hear it. Matter of fact, I think there was a farm that had some camera, but it wasn't pointing out to the road. It was basically pointing towards their home and not in the opposite direction. I believe that's what I heard. So that's bullshit. And your place didn't have no surveillance at all. You keep telling everybody that you turned over surveillance to law enforcement, but you didn't have no cameras. You had none. You need to stop telling people that. If you would have had one, it'd have been in the pawn shop, so you and Laura could get some gas or get some freaking illegal substances or get some freaking, get a fucking cheeseburger because you were hungry. You guys sold everything you had. Anything you got your hands on, you tried to sell it. So hell no. There was no video down there. Wow. And law enforcement can put out whatever they please. He was on 4 cameras on Ben Hill and 1 on Simpson's Lane. I can't wait for them mother effers to go down. They need to rot in prison. There was no cameras up there. Fred is lying like he's lying like a dog. This dude's lying like a dog, man. He's lying like a bearskin rug. He's lying like the old hound on the front porch. I know most people don't believe a lot of what I have been saying. I don't believe a damn bit of it. But watching, I'll be testifying in court. There's a lot of this. There's a lot to this case. Yeah, I know. There's a whole lot to this case. There's like Ben Hill Road, the Wells, 110. Obviously, and then you got Andy and Jody Sue. And Andy is supplying the stuff to sedate little girls, including Summer, so they can be touched at 110. And then they have you and Laura, and you come up on 110 with what they're selling over there, what they're doing over there, and you see Jody Sue's son in a swimming pool with Summer, and you're having dirty thoughts. You're having thoughts that no person should have, very dark and ugly thoughts about these 2 kids in a swimming pool. And you was very upset that Candace and Grandis and Don Wells and the kids, the boys, Don and Candace had all the boys inside their house, and Grandis was in her camper, and this guy's out there in a swimming pool spending time with Summer, and you must have known what that time was. And you was up there, obviously, in my opinion, for your turn, and was upset that he was already getting a turn before you got yours. And I think you've been pretty pissed about it ever since. That's what it sounds like to me. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys feel that that's what it sounds like to you. The way he went off on that kid being in that pool, it sounds to me like he knew exactly what was going on up there. He was there for his turn, pick a number, stand in line, and he didn't like being, second to this guy being already there. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. Yeah, pretty gross. Pretty dang gross, if you ask me. Why else would he be so red in the face? And, and I don't know what Jody Sue's son was thinking, but I sure to hell know what Fred was thinking. I know what he was thinking, and why would you think that with a 5-year-old little girl? I don't care who I see a 5-year-old little girl with. I'm not going to be thinking dirty thoughts. I'm going to think that's her brother, or that's just, a neighbor kid hanging out there. Everybody else probably, maybe the brothers are playing game machines or wanting to do something else, or maybe, they went in to shower up and Summer was going to go in later and shower up, after her brothers. I really wouldn't be thinking nothing, to be honest with you. I think it's her nephew. If I didn't know the person, I would think it's her nephew, a cousin, a brother, some family or something. Or maybe a neighbor kid, that was over there playing with them all. And they decided, the boys decided to go get cleaned up because maybe they was going somewhere and Summer was going to be running in next. And that guy just was hanging around watching her until Candace took her in or whatever. Some people, are nice like that. They won't leave and let a kid just be there by itself. I wouldn't have thought nothing of it. I wouldn't have had no dirty thoughts, you know, about this boy. Seeing that he was Jody Sue and Andy's son, just living across the road, and and visiting up over there, I wouldn't have had, you know, no dirty thoughts about that at all. I got a clean mind. But and listen to him, because he ain't gonna be testifying to shit. Actually, he's probably gonna have a lawyer not advising him not to testify at all, if you ask me. That's my opinion. I mean, it's all going to come out. People needs to ego to the side for Summer, and she's the only victim. Ego to the side. Summer is the only victim. I agree with that. But I don't see anyone with an ego except Fred. I ain't seen nobody with an ego in all of this but Fred, to be honest with you. I mean, he's the one that's got this ego. He's the one on this, he's the one tripping, right? He's the one on this freaking field trip to freaking a field trip of lies to try to, attract attention all the time and put it on somebody else. Don't sound right to me. I don't care how much hell I have to go through to find answers. Hey, right. Do you know why Andy was at Donald's the night before Donald went to jail? I don't know. Trust me, if I knew, I would tell you. We can speculate, but that doesn't get us anywhere. Oh, listen to that. I think he knows exactly why Andy was up there at Dawn's the night before he went to jail. He was up there to tell Dawn, keep your damn mouth shut. They're going to do everything they can to break you, and you need to stay strong, right? And I'm going to tell you, Don Wells, Don Wells' commissary stayed full the whole entire time. It stayed, up to the mark. The whole time he was in jail. I felt it was to tell Donald to keep his mouth shut. Possibly, but that's speculate on my behalf. Sounds like he's taken up for Andy there. I do know the night Don got the DUI that someone found a bag of illegal substances he threw out when he wrecked, turning into Window Hollow. Widow Hollow. I said window. I know he left in a hurry. Once he took note, I was starting to listen to what he was saying. That was Andy. Once they started listening to what Andy said, started paying attention, he had to go. He took off. And that was the night before Don went to jail. When the alley blue lights on Don on the Van Hill Road, he tried to turn into Widow Hollow and ran off in a yard that belonged to Marvin Simpson's sister. That's how I knew about he threw out Marvin's sister found it the next morning. So he's saying that Don threw some stuff out when law enforcement was behind him. He threw some stuff out in this woman's yard and she found it. I don't believe that, because anytime law enforcement pulls you over, they make sure they go back and they shine the flashlight all over the place. They look in all that area with a flashlight to see if you threw anything out. And they keep an eye on your windows. When they're behind you, they keep an eye to see if if you tossed anything. So I think that's bullshit. I think there's a few new money grabs coming lockdown. I think there's a few new money grabs. Yeah. I think the lie detectors test was a money grab. I heard Cher grab three $50 bills, $50 three times from somebody. And that's just what I know about. I heard there was a lot more too, but that's just what I know about. And Fred still ain't got no lie detectors test, right? He still ain't got no lie detectors test. So, I think that was, some bullshit money grab that they, concocted up to get some money. And obviously, Cher didn't give Ziggy and Fred their share because now they're all butthurt against each other, right? They're like, they no longer friends. So Cher obviously Cher didn't share. All right. That's what I'm trying to say. That they probably felt they were owed $75 and they didn't get it out of that 150. That's just my opinion. What was he doing down that way? Probably riding around smoking it, because he had told me in the past that he couldn't smoke in the home because Candace didn't approve him doing it. And I'm not taking up for someone and just saying what he had told me in the past. The night Don got pulled over and took to jail, he had an open container, I believe. That's what I heard. He had an open container inside. It was Doug. It was Doug that actually called law enforcement and told them that Don was out on the road. And Don was going to a gas station or somewhere to get cigarettes. He had ran out of cigarettes and he was going to get some cigarettes. Put a one in the chat if I'm right, because I know I am. I remember it as clear as day. He was talking with that Doug, and that's when that's when he was like, Don was really showing his backside. He was going on Benny's, he was going on Doug's, he was going on Cher's, he was going on Molly's, he was going everywhere. And he went up on Doug's, and Doug is the one that actually called in and got Don Wells arrested that particular night. when he was going to get cigarettes. Don thought he was going to be all cool and get into that truck and run his mouth and talk to Doug on his way to the gas station and back. And he actually, Doug got a hold of law enforcement, and they got a hold of Don out there. Oh, you're kidding me. In your presence. That one chick on Ryan Finds Truth, or whatever his name is, said Candace inquired about getting a late term abortion with Summer. I don't think so. I don't think that happened because Candace had promised Grandis Summer, and Grandis had, she promised Marlena Crawford, her youngest boy, and Candace was promising these kids off to people, um, and even the baby over in Arkansas, Candace had her two kids up in Wisconsin. She had the kid in Arkansas. She had the kids on Ben Hill Road. No, I don't think there's any truth to that. Matter of fact, that person that Ryan Finds Truth was talking to, I think was his own wife. Did you notice his wife was nowhere to be found when he was doing that interview? Did you notice how he kept it completely blurred out? Did you notice that the girl's hair was dark like his wife's and short like his wife's? She actually fucking looked like his wife sitting back there trying to talk more like a teenager than, a young adult woman. I think that was a bunch of bullshit. I think that was bullshit. I think that was a money grab, if you ask me. I don't think, because I know that whoever was talking did not know the Wells house. They did not know Don and Candace's house. They did not know, they did not know that Summer was born in 2017 or 16. 2017, Summer would have only been a year old. February the 4th of 2017, she'd only been 1 years old. In 2018, she would have only been 2. This person was saying that Summer told everything about her mom and dad and this and that. And it was total bullshit. Because I'm going to tell you, Summer couldn't talk at 1. She couldn't talk at 2. I mean, kids do not talk that well. And even at 3 years old, which was 2019, I'm sure that she just wasn't, being with Candace and Don Wells and, and really not getting the support and the attention, that children need to develop mentally and physically and financially and everything. She wasn't getting that support to be able to do all of these things. So that right there ruled what the woman was saying the hell out. Also, the woman said when you went up into the Wells house, "Hey, Andy, glad to see you in here." No, I didn't, Crystal. Good to see you in here. You hang on just a second because I want to show you something. But also that particular conversation, she said, when you entered the Wells house, you went up into that, to that little add-on, and then you took a right and it went into the kit. Yeah. Well, that didn't even fucking get built. That wasn't even on there in 2017. It wasn't on there in 2018 either. It started getting built like the end of 2018, wasn't finished until 2019, and you couldn't go in that way while it was getting built. You had to go through the main kitchen door. So the whole time she would have been up there, her ass would have been going straight into a door that went straight into the freaking main kitchen. And so she wasn't ever up there. Whoever the fuck was talking wasn't ever up there on 110 Ben Hill Road going into that house. Ain't that funny? Don't you find it funny that PG knows how you would have had to go into that house, but this fucking person sitting there act like they've been there doesn't? Wow, that's something to think about. Hey, Andy, what do you think of this? Let me find it. Here you go, Andy. Look at this. I thought it was weird that Andy said Stoney was at Hayward Tires and in a white van wanting to know if Andy had any young girls for sale. How would he be at your work? Basically what Fred is saying, is unless you have already purchased before, why would this guy be at your work wanting to buy a little girl, if he hadn't bought one before? So what was this guy doing at your work trying to purchase a little girl, Andy? Could you answer that for us? I appreciate it if you did. I would appreciate you answering that. Hello? Is this true or not true, Andy? That's not what was happening and didn't happen that way. Can you tell us what did happen? Can you tell us what did? Could you tell the truth? Could you tell the truth? Could you tell what Fred is lying about? It sure would be nice to know the truth. Why is Fred saying this stuff? What you say it didn't happen that way? How did it happen? What's the truth? Oh, I got another one for you too. I got another one coming up here. I got one you really not gonna like. Like I said, I'm at work. Only one that was with the blue truck coming out of the holler was Andy bumper to bumper. And then listen to this, Andy. Look at this. I really think Damien coached Summer to the road. Did you hear that, Andy? He said he believes your boy coached little Summer down to the road. He said you were down there bumper to bumper with a truck, a blue truck, that you was down there with a blue truck bumper to bumper, and he thinks your boy coached Summer down to the road for you. What do you think about that, Andy? can you at least write if you like, I mean, if you're at work, just put like a BS. If it's BS, at least, give us something. What do you think about this? Really, what I want to know, does this upset you? Does this upset you that your cousin, your own cousin, your own blood would be talking about you like this? I just want to know if it upsets you that he talks about your boy like this. Your son, your one and only son. Does that upset you? My son's not involved. And not involved. Oh, so your son's not involved. So you say your son's not involved. Who is? Who is involved? I mean, if you say my son's not involved and not involved, you're saying your son's not involved. So if you say your son's not involved, you must know who is involved. So you're saying someone is involved. You're saying it's not your son, but you know who is. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. Yeah, you know. You know, because you just said your son's not involved. How would you know your son's not involved unless you do know who is involved? I mean, I can't say, my kid ain't involved if I don't know who was involved. I would have to know who really did it to say it wasn't my child. Right? Oh, something happened to her, so someone is. Who do you think that someone is? Who do you think that someone is? I mean, you lived up there, Andy. You got to have a damn good idea. I mean, I didn't even live up there, and I got a damn good idea who's involved. I mean, I got a very damn good idea of who's involved. Oh, yeah, exactly. Bingo. The people closest to her freaking mommy, daddy, and grandma. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you, Andy. I absolutely agree with you. Yes, I do. 150%. I agree with you. And you're telling the truth there. You are definitely telling the truth there. God bless you. But Fred is really hanging you out. He's hanging you out on the wires, that's for sure. I know he left in a hurry once started listening to him and what he was saying. When the blue, he says, he's talking about Don now, throwing out some stuff. I guess he's upset that he didn't find it. I think he's upset that Marvin's sister got it instead of him. And then I asked him what was he doing down that way. What was Donald doing? That's when he made up this bullshit that Candace don't shoot. Please put a 1. Please put a 1 in the chat if we all please put a 1 in the chat if we all saw Don Wells in the bathroom doing illegal substances. Put a 1 in the chat if we saw Don Wells sitting out in the living room doing illegal and looked like he gave Candace some illegal stuff too. Remember, they had when she was sitting in the chair looking all freaking like crazy and stuff. All zoned out somewhere, and everybody had to get a well health care check for her. So I don't want to hear that, he wouldn't allow. I'm going to tell you something about Don Wells. I tell you right now about Don Wells. He'll do whatever the hell he damn well pleases in his house. He don't care. You know, he don't care what Grandis says, Candace says. He don't care. Don Wells is very territorial. He's very territorial. I'm going to tell you right now, and he will do what the hell he damn well pleases in his house. That's BS. I don't know why Fred's telling these lies. I don't know, Crystal. I don't know what all they did. According to Jody Sue, you know what they were doing. According to Jody Sue, you were supplying the sedation over there for little girls to be touched, including Summer. According to Jody Sue, you know, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. She did. Hey, PG's little girl, I appreciate it. God bless. God bless. Yeah. You know, that's what Jody Sue said. So Jody Sue, you know, Jody Sue outed you. Why go to Shitty Hollow to smoke it? That place is back shacks. I have no idea. And Candace does, and Candace does something. Had to block it out. Must not have been good. I know he probably just don't want to share, is my opinion. Most, you know, illegal substances heads don't like to share. So he's saying that, you know, that Donnie goes out to do his you know, illegal substances because he don't want to share with Candace. He don't want to share with them. Hey, Andy, can you tell me why Jody Sue say you asked her to clean the floorboards of your car? Jody Sue made shit sound good for you to hate me like she does. Boy, I'm going to tell you, Andy, that's some real, I'm going to tell you, that's some like, that's like evil hate, baby. That is, I mean, to put that kind of stigma on somebody, to say somebody was supplying sedation for little girls, little girls. I'm talking about, you know, 4 or 5-year-old little girls. These are babies. They're not even little girls. They're babies. To say that you were supplying sedation for little babies to be touched, especially one that is now missing, honey, that's not hate. That's evilness right there, if it's not true. I mean, she went beyond hate. You know, that is not, I mean, that is a stigma. Like that is a stigma that you won't ever be able to get off of you. You would never be able to get that off of you. No one's going to trust you after she put that stigma on you. I mean, I'd be awful upset. Somebody, you know, said something like that about me. Somebody says something like that about me, I would be pretty damn upset. Matter of fact, they would have to take that back. They would have to take that back. That's defamation of character in the first degree, right? You don't get any worse than that. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Ed, that ain't the shit we want to hear. We didn't want to hear nothing like that. Hell no. That's not true. That is not true, Andy. No, I don't want to ever hear that someone would be sinister enough to sell someone stuff that would sedate little girls to be touched. I mean, I understand the position that you would have been in if you did it. If you did it. I ain't saying you did. I'm saying if you did. I understand the position that you would have been put into. Because if she didn't get it from you, she'd have been getting it somewhere else anyway. So, and that's how, um, people who supply stuff think, right? That's how people who, when you're supplying stuff, or buying stuff, um, it all works out the same way. When you're living that, you know, if you're living that kind of life, you know, they're gonna they're gonna sell it. If you don't buy something, they're gonna sell it somewhere else. If you don't sell them something, they're gonna they're gonna go buy it somewhere else. That's how it works. And so it makes it eases your conscience. It eases your conscience, you know, to know that, you know, this person is what they are, and they're doing what they do, and they're going to still be what they are, and they're still going to be doing what they do, whether you supply or, if you supply or not, or you buy what they got or not. They're it's just somebody else is going to be getting the money, and you need it too. So you don't feel like you're really doing anything wrong. They are, not you. um you know that's the way it is. That's the way it is. When you're when you're in that low cesspool areas like that, where it's it's everybody for themselves, right? Everybody for themselves. And if you're a supplier, you got to make your money. You got to make your money. And if they ain't getting it from you, they be getting it somewhere else. So, if you was doing it, you figured the hell. If you didn't supply it to Candace, she'd just look elsewhere. She'd get it somewhere else. She was still going to do, it wasn't going to stop. It wasn't going to stop what she was doing. So, it's just the way it is. But, I ain't trying to hear that nobody ever did anything like this at all. I mean, this is sick. This is very fucking mentally disturbing, if you ask me. It's very mentally disturbing anytime evil people do evil stuff. It's mentally disturbing anytime someone destroys another human being out of pure fucking self gain or evilness. It's very mentally disturbing. Hey Bridget, how you doing tonight, girl? One of them, he did this, that, and another get him. What? I'm gonna tell you. any kind, dealing in any type of illegal substances can get a human hurt. It can get a human hurt. It makes your whole home unsafe. It makes a house unsafe for the children. It makes this place unsafe for you, your wife. It makes, the house is very unsafe when you got somebody supplying illegal substances out of that place. Um, you know, you really need to think about your children, and the best for your child when you go doing stuff like that. I know he probably just don't want to share, in my opinion. And then he says, how illegal substance abusers don't like to share. Van Hill would be the way he would most likely to take to 81 Interstate if he was going back to Knoxville to re-up. Don did not go into Knoxville. I don't know why they're fucking lying. He didn't go into Knoxville. Magnolia and the Cherry Street was Don's dealer in Knoxville and Andy's. Is that true, Andy? Is that true? That is it true that you and Don Wells went into Knoxville to a dealer there? I think the dealer was supposed to be called something like Play-Doh or what the fuck, something like that. Probably shit with all that land and stuff back there. You was probably back there homegrown, right? You was probably back there having big old, if you live in a place like you did, you could plant all you need and harvest it. Have enough to supply all year. Because out there, that far out, there ain't going to be no, it ain't like anyone's going to be flying surveillance over it. I mean, law enforcement out there, they don't want to buy shoestrings. They don't want to buy shoestrings for the freaking officer's shoes. So they sure ain't gonna freaking pay money to have a surveillance in the air just to see if you've got a few plants growing out there somewhere. Exactly. That's insane. Oh, that's so sweet, Bridget. God bless, sweetie. Most he ever got was two. Dang. Man. He would have been two. That would have been like shit. That would have been some shake. That would have been some damn shake. Ain't worth messing with. That's wasting your time right there. That's a time waster. Somebody just showing up for some shake. Yeah, yeah. I put more than that in my brownies. All right. Per brownie. That's per brownie. Oh shit. But there you go, you guys. There you go. That's the first few um of the text coming out. There'll be more and more and more as we go. Like I said, I got to put that stuff in content. I've been super busy lately. I'm about to get busier. I'm about to get a lot busier. So, you know, I'm doing all I can do. But I also, before I head out of here tonight, I was going to play the whole entire first part of the interview. I played it in parts, but I was going to play the whole entire thing tonight as well. But it's like an hour long or more. So I'm going to hold off tomorrow night for that. I'll bring it in tomorrow night, play it out for you, simultaneously without talking or anything. Just basically let you hear from beginning to the end for yourselves, the first whole part of everything, and that me and Fred talked about. And then I'll be putting together the second part, which is more time of what we talked about. And then I'll be that's probably you're probably gonna go through part one completely, part two, part three, because I talked to Fred quite a few hours, so there's a lot, but I'm gonna let you hear everything Fred had to say. I ain't got shit to hide because I keep it professional. Um, you know, um, like I said, I wanted nothing to do with anyone off of Ben Hill Road. I will say it a million times. I want nothing to do with anybody off Ben Hill Road. Not women, not men, not at all. Period. Um, just not my kind of people. Not my kind of people. And but I don't like people insinuating. I don't like the bullshit. I'm going to tell you, these bitches really have some problems. They really, haters. They have some real problems on, trying to, eliminate your character with their old men. I didn't ever even think to, to use my old man as a way to make someone else look bad. I didn't ever even think of it. I mean, you got to be the lowest of the mother freaking low to try to act like someone wants your damn man when they don't. I'm going to tell you, I'm too classy for that shit. I am way too classy for that. If I got beef with you, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth on you. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit there and try to, down your character by saying, oh, that person was trying to get my man. No, ain't even going to do it. Absolutely not. I'll tell you the exact truth as to my issues with that person and nothing else. You know, if I don't like them, because, you know, I couldn't drag them to the evil side and use and abuse them, I would say, hey, that's why I don't like them. And that's exactly why Ziggy didn't like me. She did not like me because I wasn't going to be dragged to the evil side. Now she did like the other girl, that Candace was, you know, crying over, the one that came up on her panel. I can't even remember her name. But Jenna, that's right, Jenna. She did like Jenna because she felt, you know, she felt that Jenna could be dragged to the evil side and used and abused by her. And Jenna was there for a minute until these old ladies were crying. A bunch of old ladies that Ziggy had took advantage of. Ziggy was having them email and call Jenna instead of her. And, you know, she wanted Jenna to act as her, like her secretary and handle, you know, these emails and phone calls by these women who Ziggy got lots of money from and wasn't paying back, and they was wanting to know when she's going to pay them back. And she wasn't going to pay them. And, you know, and they were crying to Jenna, and Jenna was, you know, and Jenna just wasn't what Ziggy thought she was. Jenna wasn't evil like that. Jenna's like, you know, Jenna had a heart, and her heart went out to these women. And, you know, and Jenna had a real problem with it. She had a real problem with it. And she wanted to confront Ziggy. And Ziggy quit answering her phone calls, wouldn't answer the emails. So Jenna tried to go up on her panel, tried to go, you know, confront her right on her panel. And she wouldn't let her up. She wouldn't let her up. She was blocking her and not letting her up. And then I told Ziggy, let her up, you know, let her have her say. But Ziggy already knew. I didn't know what Jenna was going to say. Ziggy did. I found out later what it was about. I didn't know at the time what it was about. And, but when I did find out, I fully understood why, you know, Ziggy turned on her back the way she did and was afraid to let her up on panel because she was about to, you know, let all of Ziggy's people know about these poor women who got, you know, took to the cleaners and was crying. Anyhow, long story short, when I first started this channel, I allowed Jenna to have a platform here. I let her have a platform here to express what she wanted to express, you know, about the trauma that she had been put through by Ziggy with these women. And it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there. You know, I mean, it stopped for Jenna because Jenna, you know, took the high road and left Ziggy on the low road. But it didn't stop there. Down the road, she took, you know, she took more women not too long ago. Matter of fact, she took some more women to the cleaners like that. One over her car, her vehicle, and I heard one of them. I don't know because I don't follow Ziggy like that, but through the grapevine, I heard that Ziggy took some other old women to the cleaners like that. One for a vehicle that that she ended up losing because she couldn't pay for anyway. But, and it was for lots of money. I mean, I would think that amount of money, she could have got a vehicle paid for outright. She could have paid for it outright. But she didn't. And must got something, something. She wanted something, her eyes. It's kind of like your eyes bigger than your belly, right? And something she really couldn't afford. And I heard that, one of the poor women passed away with Ziggy still owing her. I don't know if it's true or not. Put a one in the chat if you know it's true. If you know it's true, put a one in the chat. That's just what I heard. That's what I heard. But if it is true, that's really sad, man. That is really sad. Because I'm going to tell you, I love my sweet little mama. I loved my mama. I love my mama with everything I had, man. I tell you that right now. And I couldn't ever think of someone doing such a horrible, horrible thing to my little mama. I just could not think of someone doing that. I mean, I think my little mama was way smarter than allow someone to do some shit like that. But I'm going to tell you what. I couldn't think of someone doing it to my mother. And I'm going to tell you now, I can't think of someone doing it to anybody else's mother either. I can't, I'm going to tell you something. I'm too righteous. I'm too righteous to do any evil shit like that. And I don't like evil people who do. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't like evil people. I don't like evil people who will use and abuse other humans and lie to them. If you borrow something from somebody, you make sure you give it back. Make sure you give it back and give it back. Give it back with a little to boot. Give it back with a little thankfulness. Give it back with, if you ain't got much, give it back with a box of candy. Give it back with some flowers. Give it back with pure appreciation. Letting the person know how much you respected them, trusting you in your darkest hours. You should always show great appreciation to people who, have enough faith in you to help you like that. I don't understand, that type of evilness. I don't want to. All I can say is, I wouldn't have tolerated it. I wouldn't have tolerated someone doing that to my mama. You did something like that to my mama? Whoa. You'd have definitely been paying it back. You'd have paid it back. You'd have been damn happy to pay it back. Yeah, there is amazing people in this world. There is amazing people in this world who will actually go that extra mile. There's amazing people in this world who will, you know, will help you, every step of the way. There is really good people in this world, but those people are becoming less and less and less because they have been so used and abused by evil human beings. I'm going to tell you, Ziggy's generation on down, right, are very, they feel they're entitled. They feel entitled to everything someone else has. They feel, I hate to say it, but they're bums. They're mother freaking bums. They're the generation that feels like they should be allowed to live in mommy's basement until they're 50. And mommy and daddy pay all the bills and just let them do whatever they please and say nothing. They feel all this entitlement. And I got news for them. They're not entitled to shit. I'm going to tell you now, great grandma and grandpa got together and they worked very hard to make a life. They didn't live off of mommy and daddy. And grandma and grandpa, they didn't live off of great grandma and grandpa. They got together and they worked very hard to make their own life and took care of that life and a lot of children with it. And mommy and daddy, mommy and daddy didn't live off of grandma and grandpa either. They got together and they worked their backsides off to take care of themselves and their families as well. And these generations coming down the pike, they need to realize that they need to get together and work their backsides off and raise their own families as well. And quit expecting fucking handouts. There's such thing as a hand up. If you need a hand up, yes, people are willing to help out. But trying to live on handouts all the time, it's bullshit. Nobody else is getting handouts. Everybody else is working. Everybody else is taking care of their family. Everybody else is paying and supporting their own. And they don't got it. They don't got it to give. That's just the way it is. And, and I'm going to tell you, for everyone that's in Ziggy's generation that actually works a job every day and takes care of their self and their family and doesn't ask for handouts or even hand ups. For everyone that's doing righteous like the old folks used to, you got 1,000 that fucking ain't. You got 1,000 Ziggies feeling like they're entitled to live off of other people. And it's bullshit. Just saying. I'm going to tell you now, I'm a good parent. I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but I work hard to take care of my children. I don't ask anybody to take care of my kids. I take care of my own. And I'm going to tell you something. I remind my kids, yes, I do. I remind my children that I am raising them to take care of themselves, not to depend on me, but to depend on themselves. Because, see, one day I'm not going to be here to depend on. And they're going to have to be able to move on in this life and take care of them. And that's what I'm preparing them for now. I'm preparing them now to be able to get along in the future without me. I'm preparing them not to be homeless not to be hungry, not to be unclothed. I'm preparing them to have a future that'll bring in enough or more than enough to always take care of them. I'm preparing them now not to make the substance abusers rich, to make their self wealthy. And above all else, I'm preparing them to understand that they have a hell to shun and a heaven to gain. And that is the number one purpose of being here, is to show God Almighty that you can be good enough to get that white robe and enter the pearly gates and live with Him and His Son, the Holy Spirit, forever. That's what I'm preparing my children for. I'm not going to have 40 years old living in a basement. Hell to the no. Those people who are 40, 50 years old living in mommy and daddy's basement, those motherfreakers are weird. They're weird. I've seen them. I've seen them on YouTube. I've seen them on TikTok. I've seen them in movies. They're all down there doing some real weird things. That's not good. That's just not good. No, you know something? I know people fall on hard times. Trust me. When my husband passed away, honey, I knew hard times. I growed up poor. Man, I'm going to tell you, I was so poor. I was so poor growing up, I couldn't afford to be poor. That's how poor we was. We couldn't even afford to be poor. But I'm going to tell you what, I learned to appreciate everything in life. I learned to appreciate everything because I didn't ever have anything. I didn't have nothing. That's why I appreciate everything. And I thank God. I thank God that I'm very appreciative. And there's a lot of people out there, just like myself, they fall on hard times. And they thank God. They thank God for the blessings that come their way. They really do, and they appreciate it. And they deserve it. They deserve those blessings because they work hard and they do right. They do right with everything they have. And I don't mind helping those people. I don't mind helping people who do righteous with everything they get. But I do mind helping people who doesn't do righteous. I do not like helping people like Don and Candace Wells, who got all those Christmas toys for those babies and sold them instead of giving them to those children. Basically, giving those children toys was a waste. It was a waste to give the Wells family anything because them children wasn't going to get it. Candace would go sell the fucking turkey off the table instead of serving it to the children. Because that's just who they are. And if you agree with me, put a 1 in the chat. If you agree she would sell the turkey off the damn table and all the trimmings with it, put a 1 in the chat, because I know she would. And it's sad, because you know it didn't hurt nobody but them babies. It didn't hurt no one but them babies. And no baby should ever have to live with humans that are so selfish and self-seeking and self-centered and evil enough to do such a thing. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace in the sight of God. It's a disgrace in the sight of all of us. It's just a damn disgrace. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know where morals went. I don't know where kindness, caring, and love went. I don't know where respect went. And I don't know where pride took off to. I just know one thing. It is very hard to find. It's very hard to find. And if you got it, hold on to it. Because I'll tell you now, man is worth more than fine gold in this world. Worth more than fine gold. You got something that all of these haters wish they had, but they don't. It's not because they don't have it. It's because they're too lazy to use it. Just saying. And that's a shame. Oh, let me tell you right now, I am already preparing, girlfriends. Let me tell you now, I am already preparing for the holidays. Trust me. Put a 2 in the chat if you are already excited that Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up. Oh my gosh. I'm ready. I'm ready for it all. I'm ready for Valentine's Day. I'm ready for Easter. I am so ready for everything to start. I'm excited. And I'm already preparing. I mean, I'm looking at all kinds of new side dishes and all kinds of stuff, to make for Thanksgiving. And, I always like to, start early and, work on all the menu, the stuff I like to make, and, how I want to arrange the table, and all the little decorations and stuff, like kind of out with the old, in with the new stuff. And I'm super excited. Absolutely. I mean, I go out and I see all of this beautiful cosmetic, dishware and everything. And I mean, it's all, like Thanksgiving, with the little pilgrims, and then the big colorful turkeys, and they got the little turkey napkin holders, and, and all the stuff. They got like all this stuff, that you can put out for Thanksgiving, to make the little pilgrims and Indians and all this stuff to make it look so beautiful. And then they already got Christmas out. Some places already have, Christmas going, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I am. Oh yeah, pumpkin pies. Pumpkin pies are already out. Like, I bought a big pumpkin pie the other day. They're already got pumpkin pie. The one thing they don't have, you can hardly find, is the caramel apples. Do you guys notice how scarce? I mean, it used to be like caramel apples were everywhere. Um, you know, around Halloween, this time of year, you can't even find them. Like nobody. And if somebody does have them, they get gone as fast as they come in. Right? They just go out the door. But yeah, I used to love. They used to have the great big, like eight packs, right? The 8 to 10 pack of caramel apples, and you don't even see that anymore. It's like you almost have to make them at home if you want them, right? Yeah, I bought myself a big old bag of apples. I got a big old bag of apples today, and I thought I might make apple dumplings. I love to make them big old apple dumplings. They are so good. Aw, I love to sleep at my daughter's house and watch my grandson open his presents from Santa. He's 10, so innocent and believes in Santa too. Aw, that's so sweet, Anna. Yeah. Oh, I'm lucky to find a 3 pack. Aw, man. Second to none. You're making me jelly, girl. I'm getting jelly right now. Where did you find those? Right? Where did you find them? I ain't found any. I haven't found any. I haven't seen any. And trust me, I've been looking. I've been looking. I need to find some of those apples somewhere. Good night, Crystal. God bless, sweetie. All right, you guys. PG's going to head out of here. I'm going to head out of here. I got to wrap it up. I've got a very, very busy day tomorrow. Overtime. I got overtime, and I got to be up so early. So I'm going to get out of here and try to catch some sleep as well. But before I do, I always ask, please, please, please keep those prayers going up for Summer Moon Utah Wells. Please keep them going up for this little girl. I used to think that, Ronnie Lawson was going to keep his promise. I had faith in him. I had faith he was going to keep his promise and solve Summer's case. But now I have to put all faith in God, because I know that's the only one that's going to get this case solved. So please keep those prayers going up. Keep them going up to the Lord, and keep praying. Keep praying that God answers, that his answer is yes. Pray that his answer is yes. I will find her. I will bring her to the surface, and I will let everyone know what happened, so that everyone can have closure and some peace in all of this. So pray. Say, God, please, please say yes. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Keep those prayers going up for this little girl, you guys. 4 years, 4 years too long. One child missing is one child too many. Keep those prayers going up. Keep them going up for Michael Vaughn, Sebastian Rogers, Jack and Lily Sullivan, and little baby Emmanuel. All of these children, all of them are missing. All equally need to be found. Good night, everybody. God bless. Much love.